Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm out on my new Aventon Pace 4 e-bike today on the Big Creek Greenway in Forsyth County, Georgia. I just left Fowler Park. I'm headed southeast, I guess, towards the southern end of the trail here in Forsyth County, which is at the Halcyon Mixed Use Development. It's about a 5 or 6 mile ride, so thought this would be a good chance to get out and introduce myself, since this is the first video on my channel, and kind of give you a little backstory of myself and how I ended up on an e-bike. It's really more the story of my transition from motorcycling to a bicycle, more specifically this Aventon Pace 4 e-bike, and how I made that decision and kind of what's going on with my thinking around that. I had a YouTube channel for a number of years that documented all my motorcycle trips and riding. I'll put a link to it down in the description if you want to check that out. The title of that YouTube channel is Georgia Ramblin' Man. So again, thank you for tuning in. A little bit about me. I'm approaching 70 years old, and by approaching I mean fast, like in a couple of weeks. I'm retired. I retired a few years ago. Had a really nice long career as a civil engineer. Worked for the Army Corps of Engineers and a private consulting firm here in Atlanta for years, and just had a very satisfying career. But I stepped away a couple of years ago, kind of eased into retirement. I did a little bit of part-time work for the company for a while. That kind of helped ease the transition. And one of the things I hope to kind of comment about on some of my videos on this particular channel is retired life and how it's going and what the transition is like, and just kind of give you my story, and maybe it'll help you with that transition if you're going through that. But like I said, I had a long career and hobby of riding motorcycles. I started as a kid, moved up through all kinds of various bikes over my adult years. Just really enjoyed it. Took a lot of trips, just had a lot of friends, enjoyed the YouTube channel, and it was just, it was just a lot of fun. But there were a couple of things that happened in the past year that kind of made me reassess that, whether I wanted to continue that or not. Last fall, I was out riding on a beautiful October day, only about 2 or 3 miles from my house. I was on a Georgia State highway. And I live in Cumming, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. It's about 45 miles actually north of downtown Atlanta, but it's a growing suburb. And with the growth, there's more traffic and more distracted drivers out there for sure. So I was traveling down this highway, and if any of you that are watching that are in the Forsyth County Cumming area, it was Post Road. It's near Forsyth, West Forsyth High School, and they were letting out of school, and the actual school is a few blocks away from the road that I was on, but there was a lot of traffic around there. So the speed limit on that road is a 2-lane road. It's 50 miles an hour. I was going at a nice clip and just enjoying myself. As I got close to the school letting out and some subdivisions, I did slow down a little bit because I just knew that there would be some traffic there. And I would guess I probably slowed down to maybe 35 miles an hour. And there was a cross street that came up to the highway that had a stop sign, and there was a good bit of traffic on that street sitting there waiting to make a turn onto the main road that I was on. Right as I got to the intersection, this guy, who I guess had been to school to pick up his daughter, he had his daughter in the car with him, driving a very nice Tesla, but he pulled right out in front of me. I mean, in a heartbeat, he was in front of me. I barely had time to hit my brakes. I'll often think back to the accident and think, could I have taken an evasive maneuver? I don't know. It was so quick. And I smacked him hard. I'm guessing I was going between 25 and 30 miles an hour. I was on my new 2023 BMW F750 GS. Beautiful bike. A lot of videos on it on my other channel, but I mean, I flew off the bike crashed, I flew off onto the pavement, rolled around a little bit, didn't really slide very far because I don't think I was going fast enough. Had all my gear on, full face helmet, jacket, pants, boots, you know, I was fully geared up. But I banged the asphalt pretty hard, and I just lay there stunned for a minute, trying to just kind of comprehend what had happened. Was I okay? Heard an old country song one time that says, you know, I want to go to heaven, just not today. And that's the way I was feeling. Well, people came running to help me up and help get my bike off the side of the road. The guy pulled over. Police came. And I was able to get my wits about me and stand up. But and I guess with all the adrenaline at the moment, I didn't really feel any pain, or not too much pain. And this guy claimed not to see me, which is typical. I don't know if I believe him or not. I think he thought he could beat me across the intersection. He'd probably been impatient, sitting there for a while trying to get out on the road, and just was impatient and thought he could beat me. Well, he didn't. And his attitude wasn't very good. When the policeman started to give him a ticket, he was arguing with them and claiming it wasn't his fault because I was on a motorcycle and he couldn't see me. Like, what? And he was more interested in what kind of damage my bike had than what I had. And so I was not happy with this guy. You know, my bike got towed to the dealer. It got fixed. About $3,000 worth of damage, mostly cosmetic. The frame wasn't bent or anything, but that got fixed. But I got up the next day and I was sore all over. Kind of reminded me when I was a kid playing football. After the very first day of football practice, every bone in your body hurts, but when you're 16 or 17 years old, you heal pretty quickly. Oh, my shoulder was hurt, my elbow was hurt, my wrist was hurt, but the main thing was my ribs. I mean, I could barely breathe without being in pain. So I went to the doctor, got x-rayed. They claimed there was couldn't see any fractures, but it was bruised pretty good. And the only thing that was going to fix that was just time. And like I say, being in your late 60s, you don't heal quite so fast. And then a couple of weeks after my accident, a very good friend of mine, his name is Toby Gann. I want to say his name because I want people to know who he is. In his early 50s, he was a fellow Knights of Columbus member. We had a little club where we rode on bikes together. He was a Navy veteran of the Desert Storm. Just a great guy. Had kids in college and high school. And he rode his motorcycle to work every day. And he was entering the expressway here in Cumming, Georgia 400, one early morning. It was dark, it was foggy. And I don't know what happened, but somebody ran up behind him and hit him as he was entering the highway and killed him. I heard about it on the radio, immediately called my friends. Yeah, that was Toby. Went to his funeral a week or so later, very sad. His wife and kids were devastated. And that had a big impact on me. I was thinking to myself, you know, if I'd have been going the speed limit on that road, 50 miles an hour, and hit that guy, I'd probably be dead too. So I began to reassess my motorcycling hobby and whether I wanted to continue or not. And I guess that's something that every motorcyclist has to eventually come to grips with as they get older, is when's the right time to give it up. And I guess in my mind, I'd rather give it up a year or two too early than wait too late. And as you get older, your reaction time is not as good, your strength is not as what it was when you were younger, and in addition just to the dangers of the distracted driving and everything else out on the road, you've got your own skills that might be diminishing a little bit. So I put my bike on Facebook Marketplace, I sold it, and that was it. Now, does that mean I'm done forever? I don't know. I can get a little smaller displacement bike and just kind of ride around a little bit, but I don't know. My wife really wants me to give it up for good, and I understand where she's coming from. I mean, we're newly retired and we've got travels and things we want to do, and her having to attend a funeral for me is not something I want to put her through right now because of my motorcycling hobby. But giving it up is tough. I got to tell you, I've got good friends, and will I ever ride a motorcycle again? Man, I don't know. I might not. I might rent one every once in a while just to go on a ride, especially if they invite me on a trip again. But I don't know. So I'm trying to stay active in my retirement years. I walk a lot. I go to the YMCA and the gym, try to lift weights, keep my strength up. It's been kind of interrupted a little bit while I recover from this accident, but I began watching YouTube videos of these people on e-bikes, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty interesting. So I watched a ton of videos, and I ended up buying this one. Evanston Pace 4. I bought it at Atlanta Cycling in Alpharetta. Great bicycle store if you're looking for one. But I loved it. I mean, I get out on these trails, there's no cross traffic, the fastest I can go. And this e-bike, I mean, it's got a 500 watt motor. It's got various levels of pedal assist to give you, help you pedal, but it's also got a little throttle here, as you can see. I can just push it and go. Now, this is what they call a Class 2 e-bike, which means the top speed is 20 miles an hour. You can do a little change, I think, in the app and the firmware and get it up to 30, but I don't see any need to go 30 miles an hour on a trail like this. But there are a lot of bike trails like this. This is a Big Creek Greenway in Forsyth County. There's a Silver Comet Trail here in Atlanta. There's all kind of trails around Atlanta, around the southeast, that are will get me out on two wheels. Not a motorcycle. It's very different, but it gets me out, gets me a little exercise, allows me to indulge my YouTube hobby here. And I'm enjoying it. So I hope to put some videos on this channel of various bike trails around the area and share them with you. Some beautiful rides. This Big Creek Greenway goes through just some really nice areas here in Forsyth County, and there's lots more. So navigate this water here. So I hope to do that, maybe share some of my thoughts on retired life and that kind of thing. So if you're in my situation where you've retired or thinking about it, it's maybe give you some ideas. So again, thank you for tuning in, listening to my story. Hopefully there'll be a lot more videos coming. Everybody have a great week. So long, everybody.